I want to start off by telling you it was a very emotional week this week. Why on earth did you have to rehome a horse? How do you know it when it's time to change your horse? Are horses pets? Sometimes you have to bite the bullet as hard as it can be. But I've seen so many people get themselves into such a mess financially because they just can't let go. Not in a horrible way, just in a progressive way. Hi there, and welcome to episode 9 of the Just Horse Riders podcast. I want to start off by telling you it was a very emotional week this week. Not because I broke my diet and ate about 4 Kit Kats in one go. That's not it, but even though that did make me cry a little bit because I was doing so well. I was doing so well. But never mind, I'll start again. It was emotional because we had to say farewell to one of our ponies here called Thomas. He's been rehomed to a lovely home just literally round the corner from us here, to another family with another little girl who's starting her horse riding journey. Now, a lot of you may be thinking, why on earth did you have to rehome a horse? And I'll tell you why. Thomas has been with us for about 3 years. When he came here, he was an ex-riding school pony, so he'd done it all and very safe, great on the lead, happy to do anything. And when my daughter was then 4 years old, started riding Thomas. And he was perfect on the lead, managed to get her off the lead on Thomas, and now my daughter's 7. She's gotten to a level with Thomas which she is no longer progressing with. So we had to make the decision to upgrade her pony to a more forward-going pony, one that was a bit more, how do I put it, not as lazy. Thomas was a very lazy horse, but he's very safe. So it's a very hard combination to get a safe horse and a very forward-going horse. So, but Thomas has taught my daughter to learn how to control, how to steer, how to canter, how to trot, and she's ready for that next level. But yeah, it got me thinking, well, how do you know it when it's time to change your horse? And I think you should be making changes, not just with horse riding, but with anything, when things become easy. You're not being challenged in what you're doing, and you can apply that to anything. I apply it to a business, Just Horse Riders, we are constantly evolving. We're constantly adding new things. And if we stayed still, stagnant and didn't improve on anything, then our competition would overtake us. It's the same with anything, any athletics. If you keep to the same level of training in your chosen sport, then the people who are making their training harder and progressing are going to be the ones that overtake you. And I think it's the same with horse riding. I think if you are doing jumping, dressage, cross country, whatever discipline you're choosing to do, if you're finding it easy and it's something that you want to compete in, then if you're coming off a ride or, whatever it is, a competition, finding it easy and not really challenging yourself, then it's time to either make what you're doing more difficult or set a new challenge. Now, in a lot of cases, and exactly like this one that we find ourselves in our family, is that the pony or the horse isn't up to the new challenge. So, for example, Aya's now wanting to do more things, whereas Thomas isn't capable, because he is capable. He's just a lazy so-and-so. He just doesn't want to do it. He's coming into his old age, but he's still got lots of life in him. But he's one of those ponies that who just will stand still and not do anything. Sort of like the horse version of me. I'd prefer to stand there in my stable, eat my hay, and be left alone. I don't want to do anything. So that's why we've had to rehome Thomas. So after the weekend, my daughter was incredibly emotional, and as we all were, saying goodbye to Thomas. He's been in our family for 3 years now, and he's a great pony. He never did anything wrong. He's fantastic. So we got a new horse called Willow, who is a 6-year-old grey mare, and she's incredibly, she's more forward going. She likes to be at the front and the lead, and by the looks of it, will want to do the things that Aya wants to do more than Thomas would have. But then it moved me on to another thing as well. It was so emotional rehoming Thomas. Throughout my years in the horse riding industry, I have seen people accumulate horse after horse after horse after horse after horse through the same reasoning. They get to a level and then they have to get a new horse, but they don't want to let go of the one that it isn't useful anymore, because they are obviously still useful, but isn't going to do what they want to do or get to the level that they want to go to. So they accumulate all these horses, and it started making me think, well, are horses pets? Are they pets? My dogs are pets, but they have no real use other than, love and whatnot. We have a cat, again, no real use other than a bit of love, a bit of cuddling on the couch at the end of the day. We've got chickens, no real love, but we get eggs. And they have a great time roaming about the place. So with horses, are they pets? In one situation where they are a social for you, or a purpose-driven thing, so it makes you get up out of bed out in the morning, and you love doing it, you love looking after them. Or if you're happy at the level you're competing at, fine. That's I suppose you could say that they're your pet. But I think where you can't use that analogy is when you're competing horses, because essentially you're a team, aren't you? If I was playing football with a load of people who aren't very good, I'm not going to progress as much as I would have if I was playing with some other people who were better than me. So in that instance, I'd have to switch teams. And I think it's the same with horse riding. I think if you have a team of you and your horse, but unfortunately your horse isn't going to get you to the level that you want to, then unfortunately you'd have to then change out that team member. And I understand it's a lot more emotional than just doing that, because the way I just said it is quite a logical and just a heartless way to do it. In a logical side, if a horse isn't doing what you want it to do, i.e. competing wise, then unfortunately, then the logical thing to do is to rehome them. Because I think if you constantly accumulate more and more horses, as we know, horses are extremely expensive, and then could possibly put yours and the other horses' livelihoods at risk. Because if you're constantly being overstretched by financial responsibilities for all these horses that are being accumulated, then nobody's going to have a good life. So I think sometimes you have to bite the bullet as hard as it can be, and rehome your beloved partner in that sort of sense. And I know that's an extremely harsh thing to say, but I've seen so many people get themselves into such a mess financially because they just can't let go, but they still want to progress in whatever competition that they're in. But unfortunately, that's what life's like. I've had, not just with horses, but I suppose with people as well. Some people come into your life for seasons, and some are there for forever. But the ones that are coming for seasons, you've got to understand that if you outgrow these people, or they're not good for you to be, not good for them to be around you, then you have to let go, because all it does is cause you more damage in the future. And I sit here and say, you have to swap out the old and get the new. I hope my wife isn't thinking the same thing about me, because, put me out to pasture and get a new one. I'd probably like being in the field for a long time, I'm joking, obviously. No, I'm joking. But that was all that I was thinking this week. Are horses pets? Yes, they are, but no, they're not if you're competing them. When is it time to upgrade your horse or change something? Is when you find something too easy. So if any of that applies to you, then, and you're wondering why you're not progressing, then maybe that's the reason. Maybe have a look, see at what your horse's capabilities are, and rethink, actually, is he the right one for you now at this level? Not in a horrible way, just in a progressive way. But anyway, that's all from me this week. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye.